I don't know who had it on their bingo card, but Dragon Age the Veilguard was completely and utterly humiliated by Farming Simulator 25. Roll this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I encourage you to go over there and become a subscriber. I also encourage you to become a paid subscriber to help support us in bringing you the unfettered truth when it comes to entertainment, whether that be video games, movies, or television. We will be unhindered by the Google and their censorship policies, as well as the various advertisers that try to inject their agenda onto what you can read. We will no longer be beholden to them. We are coming straight to you. We are user supported. So Giant Software released Farming Simulator 25 on Steam just yesterday, November 12th, for $49.99. That's about $10 less than Dragon Age Veilguard, which I think is $59.99. On its first day of release, the game hit an all-time peak concurrent player count of 126,761. Remember, that's a Monday, or a Tuesday, excuse me, because it's Wednesday now. As of writing, there are currently 72,891 players playing the game. So this one, I took this about, an hour or so ago. In comparison, Dragon Age the Veilguard hit an all-time peak concurrent player count of just 89,418 on its first Sunday. That's almost 30% less than Farming Simulator 25's current all-time peak. 30% less than Farming Simulator 25. Just absolute total humiliation. Like, that is how much people did not purchase Dragon Age the Veilguard. Furthermore, Veilguard's opening day only peaked at 70,414. That's right. There are more people playing Farming Simulator 25 right now than the peak for Dragon Age the Veilguard on its release day, October 31. More people playing than what the peak was for Dragon Age the Veilguard on its release day. Complete and total humiliation. Farming Simulator gets the W. Dragon Age the Veilguard gets the big, giant, massive L. So we do have a bit of news, though, on top of this. On top of Veilguard being humiliated by Farming Simulator 25, we have a new rumor that claims that Dragon Age the Veilguard has finally crossed over the 1 million units sold number about 2 weeks after release. So it was previously rumored that the game had only sold about 500,000 units. YouTuber Endymion shared that in a video. He says, in total, what I'm told is that Veilguard may have sold overall so far anyway in the 500,000 range, which may sound good to some, but this is completely abysmal for a game of this level. This was seemingly affirmed by a second insider who informed YouTuber Smash JT that the numbers shared by Endymion were accurate. Smash said this in a video: Dragon Age the Veilguard sales numbers are leaking out. Between Endymion and myself, I confirmed with a source that the numbers that Endymion had released are accurate. And holy crap, are they pathetically low for a very big, mass-produced, highly touted, praised to be a great classic adventure that people would love for the ages, has turned into what this stuff always does, woke slop that people sniffed out immediately. He later said this: according to YouTuber Endymion, who cited his inside sources, the game has sold fewer than Star Wars Outlaws, with reports indicating that only around 500,000 copies had sold so far. And after hearing that news from Endymion, I couldn't help but reach out to a source at BioWare to find out if that was true. And yes, according to them, this is confirmed. About 500,000 units have sold through, and they have had plenty of returns too. So he did share a new update, though, on X. He wrote this: I've just been informed by my source at BioWare that they've been updated over the weekend, and Dragon Age Veilguard has now crossed over 1 million sales. While I personally still have my doubts to this number based on the surrounding circumstances, I wanted to pass along the info in the interest of full disclosure to all. So I'm not sure what Smash JT's doubts are on this, but I think it's possible that BioWare and EA, or his source, could be used, and they obviously got it from their company, could be saying that they did a total of over 1 million sales, but they might be including the sales that were refunded. So they might not actually be subtracting the refunded sales. That would be kind of my speculation on why he might doubt that. They might just be saying, oh, well, we sold all of these units and it totals over this, but we didn't actually subtract all the ones that were refunded. So they're still including the total in there. But we'll see. He does say, I imagine BioWare will be making a marketing push at some point soon with this info. I actually doubt that. We saw this with Star Wars Outlaws. 1 million units is not good for games like this. Remember, with Star Wars Outlaws, we had investors speculating that 5 million units is what they should have been selling for the first month that game was out. It's rumored to have only sold 1 million. 5 million was actually supposed to be on the conservative end. That was like the minimum expectations that investors were having for the game based on Ubisoft's kind of projections for the quarter. Remember, they were initially projecting around 500 million total sales, and then they had to significantly reduce that to a range of between 350 and 370 million euros. Eventually, it came in at 351 million euros. So almost a 30% decline there in what they were expecting the sales to be, which I think lines up with that kind of rumor there, maybe even more, because remember, 1 million is 20% of 5 million. So it could be even worse than what they were initially expecting. And Ubisoft has not made any kind of marketing pushes regarding how well that game is sold. In fact, it's all been negative news. They initially announced sales were softer than expected, and then they confirmed that, saying that sales were lower than expected, and it underperformed their expectations. So these games have to sell significant amounts of units in order to do well. That's why we see games such as Metaphor ReFantazio talking about how they sold 1 million units in the first 24 hours. We see Dragon Ball Sparking Zero talking about how they sold 3 million units in its first 24 hours. We can see Wukong talking about how they sold like 10 million units in like the first 2 days or whatever it was, 2-3 days, just absolutely smashing it. We have not seen anything like that. I think we saw Space Marine 2 talking about how they sold 1 million units in like the first week or something like that. And we know that that peak concurrent went over, like it was like 225,000 was their all-time peak concurrent for that game. And we have not seen anything from BioWare and Dragon Age. And what we have seen, though, is that we're not doing any DLC. We're not doing any expansions. We're moving on to Mass Effect. It looks like they're cutting their losses and moving on, because I think they realize that this game is an utter dud and is not going to get any better. Meanwhile, what we're seeing from Ubisoft is they're actually going to try to be reselling this game. Basically, they said they've done all these patches, they're making all of these changes, and they're really kind of ramping up for the game to release on Steam a little bit later this month. And they're hoping that that will boost their sales moving into the busy season, as they like to call it. I call it Christmas time, where we celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And obviously the tradition where stems from Saint Nicholas, who brings presents to children. So, and we do that on Christmas Day, where you open your presents traditionally. And obviously, for us practicing Catholics, we also have December 6th, which is Saint Nicholas's feast day, where you put your shoes out and outside your door, and Saint Nicholas comes by and gives you some small minor treats that you can get from him. So that obviously that's the busy season. A little bit of a tangent there, but so just back to what Smash is saying here. He says he imagines BioWare will be making a marketing push at some point soon. I just don't see it. We aren't seeing it from Ubisoft touting that number. They haven't even released the number yet. Again, it's just a rumor. They are trying to push this November 21 release, whereas Dragon Age is already on Steam, right? They're not going to bring it to Steam. It's pretty much run its course. I think this game is pretty much dead in the water. We can see similar games have died pretty quickly after their release. You can look at Alan Wake 2. Remedy had revealed that it sold about 1 million units since in its first 2 months, because it was released at the end of October last year. By the end of December, it had sold 1 million units, and then they gave another update noting that it sold about 300,000 units in January, and then they've literally stopped providing any actual numerical updates on that. And the only thing they've really provided is that it still hasn't recouped its costs. So, and its costs should be basically breaking even around like the 1.6, 1.7 million units based on some of the estimates that we've seen. And they're still saying that it hasn't recouped its costs. It still hasn't broken even, which indicates that the game sales have completely stagnated. And I would not be surprised if we see something similar happening here with Dragon Age the Veilguard. We've obviously seen those player counts significantly decline. They did not increase in its second week like we saw with Smash breakout hits commercially, like Baldur's Gate 3, like Elden Ring, where their all-time peaks were in their second week. Instead, we saw a significant decline with Dragon Age the Veilguard's second week on its second Sunday. I think it was like 50,000 or something like that. It got to a peak on its second Sunday, very down from that 89,000 all-time peak. And it looks like it's going to continue to go down. We can scroll back up and see here, like the last 24 hours, it was at 36,000. That does not indicate that more people are purchasing the game. I think it just indicates that the people that did purchase it, there's fewer and fewer of them playing and advancing into the game. And you can look at Steam achievements kind of show that. I think what last I looked at the Steam achievements, most people had like dipped out of the game by the halfway point. I think it was like less than 45% had achieved the part 7 achievement. There's 14 parts. So not a lot of people are finishing the game. And I think that kind of lends to the rumors about the refunds as well. They've decided they saw what they saw enough and were like, I'm out. This is not for me. Give me my money back. I can't believe that I bought this political lecture, this humiliation ritual. But it's Dragon Age the Veilguard that's getting humiliated now. Farming Simulator 25, completely blowing it out of the water. 126,761 all-time peak so far in its opening day. Just absolutely crushing Dragon Age the Veilguard. In fact, the current players is more than what Dragon Age got, the peak that it got in its first day. So this game is a total loser, and we're getting more and more evidence of it. But let me know what you guys make of Farming Simulator 25 humiliating Dragon Age the Veilguard. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.